The ocean, blue. IKEA storefronts, blue. Sonic the Hedgehog, blue. Your new loadout? I'm about to share the best blue skins in CS2 across every budget that not only look incredible, but offer great pairing combos and won't break the bank. This is one of my favorite color themes, so let's get started. Up first is the USP-S, and one of the best cheap options is the Alpine Camo, going for just 47 cents in field tested. This skin wears extremely well, so even at field tested, the pattern is only a little darker with a few scratches. Next is the Royal Guard, under $1 for field tested or $11 factory new. This offers a regal look with sleek gold detailing and a clean canvas if you like sticker crafts. The silent shot from the Dead Hand Terminal has a Japanese ninja inspired design, and while it currently sells for $3 in factory new, this is likely to decrease over the coming months as supply increases, and could be a great deal at this price point. The USP-S Jawbreaker is a bit of a wild card. I don't actually see it used very often, but this can add a pop of color with its bright gunmetal yellow finish and pink detailing. You can pick it up for $4 field tested or $30 factory new. Our last USP-S is the Blueprint. This one comes from the Operation Hydra case, and despite only being mil-spec grade, carries a hefty price tag at $129 in factory new. However, for just $22 minimal wear, it still looks extremely clean and could be a great option. This video's sponsor, SkinSwap, is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free whenever you do your first trade and use my referral code. If you want to refresh your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a couple of seconds. Plus, their market tab now integrates cheap listings from Chinese sites so you can access the best prices without the need for a Chinese ID or bank account. They accept deposits via crypto, MasterCard, and Visa. If you want to cash out, SkinSwap makes that simple too with instant sell options to PayPal or crypto. On top of that, they run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways with the chance to earn extra entries simply by trading. Use the link below for a 3% lifetime sales bonus and a free skin worth up to $50. Big thanks to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. If you're a P2000 wielder instead, the Royal Baroque is your cheapest entry point. From the Ascent collection, it has some beautiful gold detailing that could match up nicely to your agent's jewelry depending on which one you're running. The Oceanic is another alternative that is very affordable, just 29 cents field tested or $3.50 in factory new. However, one of my favorite P2000s, and not just for blue loadouts, is the Fire Elemental. This was released all the way back in 2014, and while it's sitting at $75 even in field tested, it's kind of nostalgic for me as one of the skins I owned way back. Swapping sides, and the Glock is up next. The Ocean Topo is a fantastic budget option at just 56 cents factory new. Deep royal shades of blue with a topographic pattern. The Bunsen burner comes from the Falchion case, and I see it as a great budget option for the Twilight Galaxy, which we'll see in a minute. It's got that beautiful patina shine, which really pops under certain lighting and will only set you back 80 cents for field tested or $8 for factory new. The Axia adds a bit of pizzazz. Disco ball meets ski helmet kind of vibe. From the Sport and Field collection, it could have some long-term investing potential as well, since it trades up to the popular M4 Fade. And finally, what many would consider the ultimate blue Glock, the Twilight Galaxy. This is from the Chop Shop collection and was released as part of Operation Bloodhound back in 2015. Extremely rare and very popular. An S-tier skin with a $283 price tag in minimal wear or nearly $1,000 for factory new. Now, before we move on to the next weapon skin, let's touch on another extremely important aspect of the loadout, your knife and glove combo, especially since these can weigh heavily on your budget. One of the cheapest entry points here is a pair of field tested polygon gloves with bright water shadow daggers. The daggers are only $46 in factory new, and although you can save about $15 on the gloves in battle scarred, I think a well-worn or field tested pair merits the extra few dollars. A great budget blue combo is the Nomad Knife Blue Steel with field agent gloves. Both in field tested, they come to a total of $265. Another alternative is running the new field tested sports gloves Frosty with a field tested survival knife Blue Steel. You can pick these up for $295 right now, but the price of the glove may come down further as more are opened from the terminal. Now obviously the Sapphires are one of the most popular gem knives in CS2 and can be extremely expensive, but did you know the Navajar Sapphire is currently selling for as little as $212? Well, here I've paired it with minimal wear specialist glove moguls for a total cost of $378. I think it punches well above its weight. Sure, the pattern on the gloves doesn't wear great, but the underside has a beautiful deep royal blue that will go nicely with a lot of the skins in this video. Moving up in price a little, we have the Cobalt Skulls hand wraps in minimal wear with a stiletto knife phase 4 Doppler. This combo stands out on the screen with the bright shades of blue both on the gloves and the knife itself really popping. For some high high-tier options, the Sport Gloves Amphibious are a classic choice. They pair extremely well with an M9 Doppler Phase 3 for around $1,600 total. And if you want an endgame look without the price of a high-end Sapphire, then the Cloud Chaser Specialist Gloves and a Ceramic Doppler Phase 4 could do the trick. An S-tier combo for just over $2,200. And while I haven't chosen specific knife glove combos for them, I did want to mention that there's also the Moto Gloves Cool Mint, Specialist Gloves Fade, Specialist Glove Big Swells, Hydro Glove Case Hardened, and of course Sport Glove Superconductors that all fit into a blue loadout fantastic as well. You can definitely play around with those depending on your budget. Agent wise, we're using So Bloody Silent Daryl for most of the showcases in this video, as he offers that clean sleeveless look with a bit of silver jewelry, which I think looks quite nice with a lot of blue combos. However, there's quite a few options for CT side, starting with Special Agent Ava, who features pretty clean navy sleeves for around $20. Alternatively, if you want to feel like you're going deep sea diving, you can run the Wet Socks Frogman for $46, who has the two-tone wetsuit sleeves. Or finally, there's Blueberries Buckshot with brighter camo sleeves, which I think look particularly good with the frosty gloves. Let's move on now to the P250s. We've got the P250 X-Ray up first. This is OnlyPixel's favorite.
My first X-ray! My first X-ray!
Alright, maybe not, but it is under $1 even in factory new. It's a slightly more cyan shade of blue, but can work well depending on your glove choice. Next is the P250 Valence, and the shades of grey might work particularly well here if you have decided to run the Frogman wetsuit. Just 27 cents field tested, or about $3 factory new. The Forest Knight from the Control Collection has a simple camo pattern and only costs $1.53 in minimal wear. Otherwise, for something a bit more interesting, the Mint Kimono from the Rising Sun Collection, which features the AK Hydroponic, is highly pattern based, and certain patterns feature a lot of light blue, which pairs quite well with the frosty gloves. Finally, the P250 Undertow is a classic skin from the Armsteel 3 collection, the only case to exclusively hold pistols. This goes for $34 field tested or $65 a factory new. The Tech 9 is up next, and we're starting with the Blue Blast. This is a no-brainer if you're on a budget, just 17 cents in factory new. Next, we have the Ice Cap, which shares a fairly similar pattern to the frosty gloves, and is just $1.80 in factory new. The Tech 9 Avalanche is actually a pretty old skin, released over 10 years ago in the Revolver case. It's $21 in factory new, but only $2.30 field tested, which seems like a pretty good deal to me. Finally, we have the Decimator. This one is quite pricey in factory new at nearly $200, as it trades up to the Orb Containment Breach and has fairly low supply. I'd suggest picking it up in field tested for just $5.70. For the overpowered 5.7, the Sky Blue is an easy entry for 37 cents factory new. Because it's such a clean slate, it's also a great base for sticker crafts. The Forest Knight 5.7 is the counterpart to the P250 Forest Knight we mentioned earlier. It sells for just 90 cents field tested or $5.50 factory new. Next up, the Heat Treated offers a unique opportunity for blue gems at a much cheaper price than the case hardened skins, such as this pattern 904. It also has a full 0 to 1 float range and is part of the Sport and Field collection, so could see some price growth in the future. Finally, the Berries and Cherries is another highly pattern based skin. You can get max blue patterns known as the Berry Fade, where only the tip is red, such as number 73 for instance. It looks like a blend of the M4 Blue Phosphor meeting the Hot Rod, extremely clean with a $159 price tag to match. We're moving on to Zywoo's favorite pistols next, the Dual Berettas. The Cobalt Quartz have a beautiful shine to them, and go quite strong with the Cobalt Skull Gloves in my opinion. The Dual Berettas Hydro Strike are a bit of fun, giving that water pistol Nerf gun look. Super cheap at just 80 cents for field tested, or about $8 factory new. If you want a clean minimalist look, then the Urban Shock are a great choice. Or for a skin from a highly prized collection, the Moon in Libra are from the Gods and Monsters collection, which trades up to the Orb Sun in Leo, Poseidon, and Orb Medusa. With low supply, they're $5.15 field tested or $14 factory new, despite being consumer grade. Then to finish off the pistols, we have the Desert Eagle. Now while the blue ply is an extremely affordable option, so I wanted to include it at just 38 cents in field tested, I'm personally not a big fan of the design. Instead, I think the Sputnik is pretty interesting and has a ton of unique patterns to explore at under $2 in field tested or $9 factory new. If you're a fan of the Heat Treated, or maybe you already have the 5.7 and want the Deagle to match, you can pick it up for under $3 in minimal wear or $56 factory new, but expect some overpay for tier 1 patterns like number 490. The Cobalt Disruption could be another good choice, however it has quite a lot of visible scratches even in factory new, so you may want to put in a little extra effort to find a 00 float for a clean finish. This goes for $83 in field tested or around $135 in factory new. Finally, we have the Deagle Night Heist for $21 field tested or $168 factory new. This one is from the Old Havoc collection, which trades up to the AK X-Ray. It's once again pattern dependent with subtle red highlights, and is a fairly unique shade of almost purpley blue. This doesn't fit all blue loadouts, but I wanted to include it as I quite like like the skin itself. Next, let's move on to the SMGs, starting with the MP9. And we've actually got a couple of really great affordable options here. The buff blue from the Ascent collection is only 13 cents in factory new, but its brushstroke paint kind of looks like a hyperspace jump to me. The Cobalt Paisley has a highly intricate floral design, almost something you'd find on an ancient tapestry, and once again from Ascent only costs $2 factory new. For $110 field tested or $145 factory new, you could pick up the MP9 stained glass. There aren't actually many mid-tier options here, it goes straight from cheap to expensive, but this one has actually grown on me a lot recently, and I rock it in my own loadout currently. Finally, the MP9 Pandora's box from the Gods and Monsters collection is another pattern-based skin and quite popular. It's got fairly low supply for a mil spec and will set you back $167 factory new. Interestingly, the field tested is pretty much the exact same price right now. Next up is the Mag 10, and your cheapest option here is the Oceanic from the Spectrum 2 case. On first impression, I thought this skin was just a bunch of goop, but it's actually a floral design, albeit slightly abstract. Another great affordable skin is the Mag 10 Lapis Gator. It kind of has a crocodile skin pattern in an anodized finish, and is only $3.50 in factory new. Then we also have the Pipsqueak from the 2024 Overpass collection. Many people saw this as a strong investment option, however its price had dropped quite a lot recently after confirmation it wasn't getting rotated out of the armory. It's now sitting at just 25 cents field tested and $4.20 factory new. For the MP7, which has seen an increase in popularity since its buff a few months back, we've got the anodized navy for just $1.40 in factory new, for a really simple, clean look. We also have the Asterion from the Gods and Monsters collection with a nice geometric maze-like finish, a bit of lime green in there also adds some nice detailing, and while it's selling for $22 in factory new, you can pick it up in field tested at under $5. Finally, we have the Ocean Foam from the Esports 2014 summer case, a pretty old skin and definitely a little more muted. This one is only obtainable in minimal wear and factory new, so it'd set you back around $30. Let's get into the main event now, the rifles. And without wasting any time, we'll jump in with the AK-47, and there's a ton of options here. The Ice Cold is a great cheap entry point at just $4.37 for field tested or $19 for factory new, and it does have an AWP to match as well. The point disarray is actually a pretty interesting pick. Predominantly red, it has a nice light blue detailing and could provide some contrast to the loadout. The blue laminate is an OG skin, often used for sticker crafts for the likes of Titan, LDLC and MVS back in the day. It still looks great in field tested at just $15. Next, the frontside Misty is in your face. It's bold, neon blue is instantly recognizable. It is $180 in factory new, but only $18 for field tested seems like a great deal. The AK Inheritance quickly became a favorite when it was released as part of the Kilowatt case. While it's $53 in field tested and $173 in factory new currently, it could see some price growth once the case is removed from the active duty pool. Another iconic Counter-Strike skin is the Vulcan. If you watched a professional match 10 years ago, everyone was running this, and its popularity is reflected in its price. Just under $200 for field tested, but nearly $700 in factory new. Finally, what many would consider the ultimate AK skin for a blue loadout, the Case Hardened Blue Gem. Pattern 661 is the best pattern, but will drive a lot of overpay. And I mean a lot. I would suggest taking a look at other tier 1, 2, and 3 patterns that may be more affordable. I won't include a price here. There's a ton of variation. If you've made it this far, I've got something for you. I'm giving away a pair of field-tested driver glove hand sweaters to one of you this month. To enter, just like the video and leave a comment on which CS2 skin you think is the most overrated. I'll be picking the winner on May 31st. Good luck. The M4A4 is up next, and the Naval Shred Camo will be your best cheap option at under 50 cents for factory new. The Spider Lily is a strong contender at just $8 field tested or $102 for factory new. And I will say there's a lot of value in field tested and minimal wear for a lot of the primary rifles, as many have seen their factory new prices highly manipulated over the last year. Now, I don't actually see the M4 Global Offensive used in game almost ever, but I think it's a pretty interesting mix of colors, and the yellow could work well with the Field Agent gloves or maybe even Lieutenant Commanders quite well. I ran the M4 Emperor in my primary loadout for years, and it's one of my favorite skins in the game. A really beautiful shade of blue alongside detailed gold-rendered imagery. This is great value at $53 field tested or $297 factory new. Moving on, for those of you who can't spray control, the M4A1S. The Liquidation is a solid pickup for only $2.30 field tested or $12 factory new, with a clean metallic finish. If you want a classic skin, the Guardian is another one that provides a basic canvas and is really elevated by sticker crafts. However, one of my favorite M4 skins is the Nightmare. I feel like this skin went underrated for a long time and is still available for just $9.70 field tested or $258 factory new. One of its close competitors is definitely the Hyper Beast, and I must admit, I think this is a pretty banger skin. So many different bold colors here, just don't let it distract you from the clutch. And to finish off, we have two extremely iconic M4 skins. Firstly, the Icarus Fell from the Gods and Monsters, selling for about $633 factory new. Now supposedly the Max Blue pattern has the sun a bit further forward, but personally I like patterns like number 36, which makes it a bit more central. However, the ultimate blue M4A1S and a real staple of the Counter-Strike skin landscape is the blue Phosphor. It's got a sapphire-like finish that looks absolutely insane in the rain, and it's currently selling for $660 on SkinSwap, nearly $70 cheaper than CS Float. And indeed, all of the great prices in this video are from SkinSwap, so check them out via the link in the description. Let's touch on the Galil next. The Cold Fusion is a great, affordable option with a nuclear waste design featuring skulls and bones. It's only a few cents field tested or 96 factory new. The Rocket Pop is a bit of fun with bold stripes and pixelated particles, or you can keep it clean and simple with the blue titanium for $23. The Stone Cold actually has some subtle detailing and creates the illusion of depth with its shadows. It's around $31 in factory new, but just $2 field tested. And finally, the Rainbow Spoon from the Sport and Field collection with its anodized rainbow chrome finish that kind of reminds me of my high school Bunsen burner experiments. It's currently $41 field tested and $79 factory new, but could see growth once its removal from the armory. It is pattern based, so certain seeds like number 44 feature a lot more blue. For the FAMAS, the Yeti Camo is a great entry point at just 38 cents field tested or around $5.50 factory new. It is part of the Ascent collection, which is currently in the active drop pool, so prices will likely come down even further in the years to come. The FAMAS Cyano Splatter pretty much has the exact same pattern as the Sports Glove Frosty, so they pair perfectly together. This one is about $20 factory new, but you can get it in min wear for just 18 cents. An absolute bargain. But one of my all-time favorite FAMAS skins has to be this one, the Waters of Nephthys from the Anubis collection. A stunning light blue where these 3D shadows change the look of this iridescent pond as you move the gun around. It is a bit pricey at $325 factory new and $67 field tested, but I love it. And then finishing on the sniper rifles, we have the SSG mainframe for just $1 in factory new. It's definitely got a bit of purple on there, but is a nice cheap option. Alternatively, the Abyss is a great choice at just 44 cents field tested or $5 for factory new. Makes me think of a stormy night out at sea, and I like that pretty much the entire scope features the pattern. A lot of the scout designs leave it plain black. And then finally we have the Tropical Storm. While it's a fairly muted design, it's got an expensive price tag as it trades up to the AK Wild Lotus in the St. Mark collection. Because of this, I think it's severely overpriced at $22 field tested and $84 factory new, so I'd probably stick to the Abyss. And then we end with the AWP. The Atheris is arguably one of the best budget skins in the game, period. It's $45 for factory new, but just $7.33 in minimal wear, and it still looks absolutely great. I don't see many people rocking the Sunny Leo, as it is a rare skin from the Gods and Monsters collection, but it's a great pickup around $23 field tested or $82 in factory new. The AWP Cordycera is a pretty old skin released back in 2014 and has an extremely unique float range of 0.06 to 0.3. So while you can pick it up for $231 in factory new, I'd suggest minimal wear at about $25. It's not everyone's favorite skin, but I personally quite like the blue and green mix. If you picked up the M4 Hyper Beast earlier, you may want to match it with its AWP counterpart here. It comes from the Falchion case, which has one of the lowest supplies left in the entire game, so could also have some investing potential. And then we finally reach the heavy hitters. These are some of the rarest, most desired skins in the entire game. The AWP Medusa factory new only has 430 in existence worldwide. That is insane, but carries a $4,660 price tag to match. And then if you're going all out, the AWP Gunya is obviously our final pick. Some people think this is the best skin in the entire game. It's the crux of the Norse collection, one of the most iconic skin lineups, and of course goes into the 5 digits with a factory new price of over $13,000. If I missed any of your favorite blue skins, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, be sure to check out one of these videos next. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.